Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing today? We feeling good? I hope we're feeling good. Welcome back to Cherry Points, the podcast. Yes, we're still going strong. I won't stop. And on today's podcast, we are talking bad dating habits. Now, when I looked these up, I was like, wow, I sure do have a lot of these. So I thought I would talk about bad dating habits because I feel like they're so easily picked up. Like when you're going on multiple dates trying to find someone, it's so easy to like get repetitive, do the same things over and over again, not realize certain behavior you have like a pattern of. And I feel like I do a lot of these and I feel like other people probably do too. I feel with like bad dating habits, it can be a very like unconscious thing. Like you just get into this like pattern of like repetition. And like after doing all of my research, I realized I was picking the same guys. I was taking them to the same places. I was doing and like saying the same things like over and over again. Like I was having like Groundhog Day dates and like expecting a different outcome every time, which is literally the definition of madness. Okay, so like let's get into it. Bad dating habits. So I started by looking up the top bad dating habits within my country. Now I would suggest to any singletons out there to like look this up for whatever country you are dating in because well, one, it's actually kind of interesting, and two, I think it can really help and like it could pinpoint some of your own bad habits. So this is a Irish survey that was done in 2019 and it was actually pretty interesting. So 69% of people said being on your phone too much is like a top bad habit. Now, I don't really do that one too much. I kind of have a rule. The phone is either in my bag or in my pocket and it doesn't kind of get taken out unless like I don't know, it was something relevant to the conversation, like, hey, look at this picture, or like, oh, do you want to follow on, whatever. But like a good rule of thumb is phone in pocket or bag, so you avoid doing this on a date. 63% of people said bad manners, and yet, like, this one actually really gets me. And I think because of COVID, everyone else is kind of on board with this. Like, if you have to cough, sneeze, or burp, cover your mouth, turn your head, like, be polite about it, please. Like, no, like, gross. Don't be gross on a first date, okay? Have some manners. Like, watch a YouTube video on some etiquette, like, if you really have to. Like, I'm not Hyacinth Bouquet, but, like, honestly, if you start, like, burping or, like, just being gross at the dinner table, then I am leaving. I sound like really old with that one, but like I actually don't care. Like have some manners. Like who raised you? No. And okay, so like this next one kind of it tied with bad manners. So it was also 63% said being rude to wait staff. Now this drives me nuts. Have a bit of respect. Like these people have a hard job. They have to deal with the public. Like they're bringing you your food and your drinks. Like do you not think they're gonna spit in it? Like what? Like no, just like be nice. It costs you nothing to be nice and polite. So these next two also tied at 47%, and it was talking too much about your ex and getting too drunk on a date. And okay, I have done both of these, but the other way around. I have gotten too drunk. They have asked me a question about my ex, and they have gotten like the PowerPoint presentation. Now, I know some of you will be like, well, maybe just don't drink on a date then. And honestly, grow up, okay? Grow up. I can tell you've never been on a Tinder date. Like, now, what was really interesting about this survey was there was a division between the sexes. So men would rank being on your phone too much as like the worst bad habit, but women would rank bad manners as the worst bad habit. And I thought that was interesting. Mostly because I am an Irish woman and I would rank like bad manners at the top of like the bad dating habits list, which, apparently I'm not the only one. But like, do any men out there like agree? Like, would you say the phone thing is worse or would you say bad manners is worse? I'm interested to know, is it like just Irish men or is it like men in general or is there like, you know, let me know. So those were like the statistics for Ireland. So after I researched all of that, I like broadened my scope and tried to look up a more like worldwide opinion. So the good people at eHarmony have made a list of the top 6 bad dating habits people tend to have. Okay, so like number one is being too hard on yourself. And I think we're all kind of guilty of this. Do you know when you just get into that like self-deprecating mindset, like it's all your fault, you're too much of this, you're not enough of that, like things go wrong because of something you did or didn't do, like that kind of mindset. Yeah, we really need to stop that. Number two is having unrealistic expectations of your date. Now, if you're going into every first date with like, this is the one, this is it, like I'm done, this, they're going to sweep me off my feet or I'm going to sweep them off their feet. And like, it's all just going to be like Disney romance. Okay, you need to calm down a little bit. Like, just take it down just a little bit. Like, you're putting too much pressure on it, you know? Like, go, hang out, have a good time. See if like you really do connect and like have some sort of like chemistry. Like not every person is going to be like your Disney fairy tale. So just just take it down a notch. More Pixar. Number three is pretending to be someone you're not. I mean, look, eventually they are going to see you for who you are. Okay, it's like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode. The mask comes off and we see who it was all along. It's kind of it's a catch-22 situation. They either love the fake you and don't like the real you, or they hate the fake you and never get to know the real you. It's a lose-lose situation. So number four, it's an interesting one. It's using dates as a form of therapy. Now, I will hold my hands up. I have done this, and this has been done onto me. And yeah, we all need to like stop it. Like if I had a tenner for every time I went on a date and someone just like poured out their life's trauma, I could probably afford my own therapist and stop using dates as a form of therapy for myself. Yeah. Like, pro tip, never go on Tinder when you're feeling sad. Number five is complaining. Like, look, if you want to moan about the world, that's fine. Call your best friend. But like, leave first dates to like, so what's your favorite color? And finally, number six, bad manners. Now, this is on enough of these like bad dating habits lists, things that I feel it should be like number one across the board now. So that's like what you don't do when you're on the date, okay? But like, what about when you're looking for a person to go on that date with? Like, what are the do's and don'ts about habits you might have when you're looking for that person? In 2017, Bustle came out with an article of toxic dating habits you may need to break. And I actually found this quite useful. I think it'll help some people like just pinpoint where they may be going wrong trying to find somebody? So the first one is you give too much power to the perfect on paper list. Like you get too bogged down in air quotes, your type. But like, is your type working for you? Are you having like successful relationships with this type that you're so stuck in? Like, are you finding the right people or are you getting too married to this like piece of paper with this checklist. The next one is you're going for Mr. or Mrs. like unavailable. Like you're just wasting your time, and like it's like a form of self-harm. Like it's a bad habit. A lot of the times it's like an unconscious thing, but like once you realize that that might be one of your patterns, like you really need to break it. Another one is you're daydreaming about your future. I do this all the time. And if you're like in a daydream, you're not in reality and you're not seeing who's in front of you. Next up is ignoring big red flags. You can listen to my previous podcast if you want to like pinpoint some, but yeah, don't ignore the red flags, okay? Like, stop making jokes. It's not burgundy, it's red. Next up, we have being too guarded and not being guarded enough. Now, this is like the hardest one because that's like trying to balance a fucking seesaw. Like, it's okay, I was too guarded with that guy, but now I'm not guarded enough with this guy, and like that backfired, so maybe I should be guarded again, but like not too much. Like that one, yeah, you might need a therapist to help you with that one. Next up is being too critical. Now, look, the way I see it is people will view you through the same lens you view other people. Now, ask yourself, is that a fair lens to be scrutinized through? Yes or no? I mean, the absolute truth about it is like the people you don't accept are under absolutely no obligation to accept you. You cannot expect perfection off of somebody and then expect them to like be fine with all of your flaws. Like that's just not going to happen, okay? You need to stop that. And lastly is making assumptions. Like, look, you don't know shit about a person until you sit down and talk to them. Like, you don't go buying a house, stand outside, just look at the front and go yes or no. No, you go inside, you check out the house, you look in all the different rooms. Because why? Because outsides can change. Okay, so like so far, bunch of different advice from various different websites. Okay, cool. Got it. Thanks. So, like, next, I decided to look up some dating advice from an actual expert. So, I found some from one of the dating experts at Hinge. So, this is some dating advice from a dating expert from Hinge. Her name is Logan, and this is advice from about October 2020. Okay, so like her first tip is don't get addicted to the chase. Logan says some people get very excited by like the pursuit of somebody, but then they kind of lose interest. Her second tip is put in effort but avoid ghosters. She says from their ghosting research, most people would actually rather be outright rejected than ghosted. Her last tip is get a pal to like diagnose your problem, which personally I do think is a good idea, but only if you can take criticism. So those are some like bad dating habits. There's some tips to avoid bad dating habits. I hope this kind of helped. Like I know doing all that research and like finding out all this stuff actually did kind of help me. So like I hope you got something out of it. I hope you all like enjoyed this podcast today, and I hope you like, I don't know, took something from it, or like maybe you just realized you're actually perfect. Like, either way, I hope you got something out of it. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a great day. You're having a good week so far, and you're staying safe and you're staying healthy. Love you.